this is in a nutshell the questions. So I'll open it to the floor, and I would say we can do the same as in the other session. So maybe just write, I don't know if you have a chat actually. Yeah, we have a chat. So you can just send it in the chat or raise your hand, and then would be very welcome to hear all your voices. So I don't know, Silva Carmen, USGS, if you want to add something to this, because I said, so we co-chairing the capacity building. Feel free to step in. I see also Sylvia's there. So not, Evan, please.
So and if Sylvia or others or Moses from Silva Carbon want to jump in, that's great too. I was going to just talk a little bit generally in terms of some of the things that we've been thinking about doing more on and supporting. And part of that is wondering how we can work with countries to more clearly identify, you know, where they're at in terms of their monitoring systems, identify some of their needs, and figure out how we can jointly kind of track progress on those. And this is something, you know, we've been working on for quite a while, but we're hoping to do more of that in the coming year. And I'm just interested in kind of getting reactions, ideas, thoughts on that. I think for us, we think it could be a very useful approach to work with countries so that the countries themselves are more clearly able to work among the different institutions working on their monitoring systems to identify where there are gaps and needs, and identify where they want to work with others on doing that, and track the progress so everybody's kind of on the same page, and countries themselves, the institutions involved, can also demonstrate to leadership where they're going. So I'm interested in getting feedback or thoughts, at least that for us, that's an area that we're interested in building on.
Okay, thank you very much, Evan. I don't know if someone else wants to step in and have some thoughts, ideas. We have people also GIZ. I don't know, what's your view on the future on capacity building, the collaboration with GFOI? I know the whole period of the pandemic has been challenging because of the virtuality of everything. I don't know if you have an idea on this, how you would see this going. Rafael, if you want to.
Yeah, of course. Unfortunately, you know, we don't do too much MRV capacity building right now directly from GSZ.
Did everyone lost Rafael, or is my connection?
I lost him too.
Okay.
Yeah, I lost him too.
Yeah, we lost him. So let's see if he gets back. I thought there was, I don't know where he is based actually. Yeah. Okay, so I don't know. Yeah, I think he's back. Rafael, we lost you for a moment. Can you repeat?
Oh, sorry. I don't know where you lost me, but
in the beginning.
Okay, sorry.
We just saw you.
Sorry, that unfortunately most GSZ capacity building programs are ended or already have ended. So that's why we didn't put a lot of thought into it, let's say in the past months. But there are some programs that can provide capacity building in multilateral funds. BMZ supports Green program, the new IDB Emerson initiative that can do capacity building also for MRV if it's a need articulated by the country. And yeah, I think there, what we should do, or at least Germany, we should streamline GFOI guidelines, our tools, OpenMRV, registry of tools into these organizations so that they use it. So I think this would be something that at least I try to do from the German side, although we don't do a lot of activities right now from GSZ.
And do you see this going to be likely changing in the future, or it really has to end first this pandemic before there will be decision taken?
I don't.
Or is it hard to foresee?
No, no, I don't see really programming for dedicated MRV support in specific programs in the next 1 or 2 years, because there's no planning right now, because no dedicated programs. But of course, it always can be part of programs that work in countries and that they have components.
Yeah, okay, thank you very much. We also have Alessandra Gomez, who's the director of the INPE Amazonia Center. There's a long history of FAO and also linked in the GFOI for the capacity building. So I don't know, Alessandra, if you want to say something on how you see the future and options for the GFOI capacity building from Brazilian side.
Okay, Ingi. I'm not a director this year. I'm just a technologist of INPE, but it's okay. I'm in Belém, Amazonia.
Yeah, but in our eyes, you're a director, but okay, good.
Okay, but as I think that all you knew, that it's Brazil that has their institutions with their own rules and projects and programs for forest monitoring. We have PRODES, we have the TER, we have fires monitoring, we have a lot of projects. And of course, after 9-10 years, we did a lot of capacity building projects. One of them was with FAO. We put projects like PRODES, the forest monitoring project, and the TER, early warming system, and Terra Class, land use and land cover projects during these years in the courses. Now we are planning to do another thing in online mode. Of course, face-to-face is not allowed. Nobody wants to come to Brazil, of course. Brazil is a kind of risk in this COVID time. But we are planning to start with new ideas, online courses. There is a new project here, Brazil Data Cube is processing in cloud. So we are planning to do some courses with this. We are make some arrangements with the institutions and other countries to start this kind of capacity building next year. So I think that this part of my speech answer one question of you that you are asking. It was about new ideas or new subjects for the capacity building. I don't think that projects related to the countries that have the specific rules and the needs we can share like 10 years ago. So now you have to discuss new techniques when we are using high satellite images, or when we are using new techniques with cloud processing. And I know that people from this project, Karine and Gilberto, they are talking with Eric Lindquist to put something integrated to CEPAL. I think that they are trying to arrange this thing. So I think that we are coming back to the game of capacity building. We are coming back to the game, to the spread out our techniques and new techniques that we are developing here. I think that it will be a very, very interesting time now from next year to restart capacity building project here. Now we are completely stopped. We don't have courses, even online courses, because I was in another institution last year and came back this year. So we had to structure all the team again and all the project in the program. So I think that probably GFOI in INPE, we can talk to discover needs from the countries in South America or in other parts of the world, to try to transfer these new technologies and new knowledge about these techniques and the projects that we are developing. I think that will be a very, very interesting time, probably for 2022. Okay.
Yeah, thank you very much, Alessandra, was very useful. So I think one of the key things we wanted to get out here, and I think, Evan, that's also the thing you mentioned, it would be great to hear, I see there's some country representative to hear what's actually working, what's not working. We did have a GFOI exchange in which we overlooked everything what has been done this year. So I think the conclusion was the virtual is not the same as the face-to-face, but that has really reached out to a lot of people. And on the positive side, that most people, even in different time zones, were able to follow because of recordings, which otherwise they cannot. And even reaching more people. So we saw that also the amount of women was increasing, which is a good thing because very often in country meetings, there's very little participation of women. So I'm sure, Ellen, I see you're on this part as well. You're going to be very happy about this. But on the other hand, I think everybody realized, especially from the capacity building component, that it's very hard to make new trusts, new partnerships, and new projects. So everything that's in place could go on, but I think to set up new things was very tough. So I don't know how people working in countries have experienced that. I see there's quite some people online from, I don't know who wants to chip into this. I don't see any hands raised. But I don't want to put anybody on the spot, but it would be just great for us to see how this could be done better or what's really needed. And then as long as no one's raising his hands, maybe I'll go on with the second question. So as said, with these metrics on success, it would be really good to see how can we see the impact of what we're doing. So as said before, in a former life of GFOI capacity building, I think it was enough to say we had 10 workshops, we had 20 participants, so we did great. But I think if we really stand still and look at it, that's not the real thing of the impact. I think we really want to see where it's picked up, what do countries, what do participants do with the data, the info, the classes they have been going through. So that would be great to hear also from you how you see this. I don't know, Ellen, if you want to say something on this part, because as donor, of course, you also have a view on these things, or you want to have best use of all the funds and of all the tools. But others, please feel free to raise your hand to come in or to put in the chat.
Thanks, Inge. You did put me on the spot there.
Yeah.
That's okay. I think what I'd really like to get out of this discussion is to really understand how we can, from the donor side, how can we better listen in a systematic way? Because it's easy to say, oh, what are the needs, what's needed out there, but how do we make sure that we hear what's really the needs, and how do we prioritize? I mean, we can't do everything at the same time, and there needs to be some sort of prioritization. I think I'd be so bold as to make a statement to say that a lot of the, or not a lot, but some of the low-hanging fruits have been picked. I think when RED Plus started, there was a focus on activity data and getting data to analyze where is the forest being lost. But I think that data is now available, and countries can make use of that to varying extent. But I think perhaps we are now facing some of the harder questions, and also that the needs are more diversified. This is an assumption that I'm making, so I'd quite like to hear back if that is something that you see as well. But given that it's right, how can we from the donor side make sure that we prioritize the resources that are available in the right way? Because that's a question that I think it's fair to discuss. Thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot, Ellen. I think suspense. Si vous pouvez parler en français. I don't know if there's a
Allô.
translation. Allô, suspense, vas-y.
Oui, bonjour, merci beaucoup pour la parole. Alors, j'ai suivi les échanges et merci pour toutes les contributions qui ont été déjà données. Moi, j'interviens spécifiquement sur la base de l'expérience de mon pays. Moi, je suis de la République du Congo, donc la capitale est Brazzaville. Donc, je suis de Brazzaville. Je suis chercheur à l'université, enseignant-chercheur à l'université. Et depuis quelques années, je travaille avec les collègues sur la production cartographique. J'ai une interrogation que je voulais partager à tout le monde ici. C'est que dans le cas de mon pays, il s'avère que nous avons différentes cartes forestières et nous avons des produits cartographiques qui présentent aussi les pertes d'une année à une autre, ce qui fait que lorsque pour la même période, lorsqu'on compare pour la même période, nous avons des produits cartographiques qui présentent des résultats totalement différents, soit dans l'estimation des pertes de la dégradation, soit l'estimation des pertes de la déforestation, même aussi dans l'estimation de la superficie de la forêt du pays. Ce qui rend complexe le choix d'un résultat quelconque, vu que ce sont différentes institutions qui ont accompagné le pays dans la production de ces cartes. Ma question maintenant, puisqu'on parle de renforcement de capacité, est-ce qu'il n'est pas temps que la communauté des chercheurs et des grands experts qui sont là, qu'on arrive à adopter soit une seule méthode de production cartographique, qu'on s'accorde, hein, je sais que c'est difficile, qu'on s'accorde pour que cela évite à des pays comme le nôtre de se retrouver avec plusieurs produits cartographiques, avec des statistiques qui sont différentes. Et ce qui rend complexe même parfois la notification lorsqu'on, par exemple, là, nous sommes en train de boucler le rapport de la 3e communication nationale, mais c'est quand même assez difficile parce qu'il s'agit de reporter les pertes. Et lorsqu'on parle des pertes de la forêt, on se retrouve avec plusieurs résultats, avec des statistiques différentes. On est dans l'embarras du choix, on ne sait pas quel est le produit prendre, quel est le résultat prendre. Voilà la problématique de mon pays que je voudrais vous soumettre à nous tous ici pour la réflexion et voir dans quelle mesure régler ce problème. Merci pour votre attention et pour la parole.
Oui, merci beaucoup, Suspense. So maybe for the, I don't know, there's some people who probably don't speak French in this group, so I'll do my best just to try to translate a bit the situation. So we have Suspense, he's from the Republic of Congo, from the university. He works in cartography. And so his question is that there's actually in Congo, and I think as in most countries, which at least the FAO has been assisting, so there's a lot of forest maps. So there's not one map and there's not one statistics which go for each of the different years, based on the fact that there's different groups making different products. So also for the degradation, the deforestation, the statistics, sometimes from these different products are completely different. So basically, he's asking in name of a lot of the researchers, because Mr. Suspense is linked to university, if it would be possible to have one single method for the cartography. Well, of course, because that's linked then to the national communications, and then if this data does not match the other reports that may be are submitted, that's of course is a big thing. So I don't know if someone wants, I saw Remy was online, so he's one of our FAO technical officers who has been working a lot in Congo. If not, I can take this question for a bit. So basically, what I want to say to Suspense is that for the GFOI part and also how the way FAO works, so we heard it before, so the MGD is really the basis on which all the support is being given. Of course, that does not exclude that there are different methods and different definitions leading to different results. So I think the most important part for a country is to have the definitions right, and in every submission really stress how it was done and what are the main stakes. So I think that's from my side. I don't know if someone else wants to comment on this. So Suspense, je crois pas qu'il y a de la traduction. Alors pour répondre à votre question, je comprends tout à fait la problématique et je crois que le plus important, au moins dans le contexte de GFOI, c'est qu'on utilise toujours la Bible, on dit, le MGD, c'est le Methods and Guidance Document, dont il y a décrit tous les options pour utiliser les coordonnées et pour arriver à créer des cartes. Évidemment, le plus important, c'est que dans toutes les cartes, la légende est clé et que c'est très bien expliqué, toutes les définitions et qu'est-ce qu'on utilise pour créer cette carte. Parce que c'est normal qu'il y a des différences, mais le plus important, c'est qu'ils sont vraiment considérés et vraiment décrits dans tous les documents. Je crois que ça, c'est le plus important pour répondre à votre question. So I don't know if someone else wants to come in at this point. So there was a very technical question from a country. So I said also by Ellen, it would be good to hear about the prioritization of different countries. I see Ellen, you want to come in, so please, Ellen.
Yeah, thanks, Inge. Merci pour la question. I just want to add a comment, if I may. I guess I should do it in English. I don't think we have translation here, but I think I too see the problem that you're pointing at and recognize that that can be a challenge. But I think if it's possible to also look at that as a source of strength and also an avenue for further refinement and development, because different methods show different results, and to enter into a dialogue and discussion in the country about why there are different results from the different methods. I think that's something that could also strengthen the discussion and the solidity of the methods. So I see what you're pointing to, but I'd like to encourage you to consider it a strength and to enter into discussion to see why there are differences, rather than to try to make everything similar. I mean, perhaps it's also possible that they serve different purposes or can show different analytical insights, so that you can learn something about some drivers from one method and something else from another method, perhaps. Yeah, that's just what I wanted to share. Thanks.
Yeah. Thanks, Ellen. So, suspense, je ne sais pas si vous avez compris, mais en gros, alors Ellen, qui est du NICFI, le donateur norvégien, elle propose qu'évidemment, ça peut sembler problématique, mais en fait, c'est aussi une force qu'il y a de différents produits, parce qu'on peut aussi voir ce qui est derrière, par exemple, ce qui vraiment est à la base de ces différences, et on utilise ça aussi pour comprendre mieux les ressources naturelles et forestières. Je vois Baudouin, please. I know we've been working also a lot in Africa, so please, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Inge, for organizing. Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you very well. Perfect.
Okay, thank you very much. Just I wanted to in fact discuss about this online capacity building that we have a lot for the moment, and we in fact we have this difference between the virtual and the face-to-face, and we should focus this virtual for the general information and focus the face-to-face capacity building for the exchange of experience and to have dedicated in deep use of data tools. And I think it would be great if GFOI could build a kind of centralization of this online capacity building in order to facilitate for the user the access to this this capacity building, and then to allow dedicate face-to-face capacity for the other purpose. And for the topic about the matrix, I think one way, but maybe it's require a bit of time, is to make some survey after capacity building to evaluate, in fact, on a sample of participants how far they have been using the data, or how far they have been integrate the proposed approach in their current use. Thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot, Baudouin. I think it's a very good suggestion, actually, to have these online tools centralized. Maybe it's in an early stage, because I think most of the organization are in the phase of building it, but that's not a bad thing to do it from the start. For information, there's the inventory of the registry, which is the led by the World Bank, in which a lot of these tools which were existing before COVID would come together. So we might think of it also to link all these e-learning tools. So thanks a lot for that one. Okay.
Can I comment on that?
Yes, please. Please.
So I was just gonna mention, I think Monica is in the call. Monica Yara, she's a communication specialist at Silver Carbon. And so she had this idea, she brought up this idea a while back to me of having maybe the capacity building component organized in a session where we can show what are the training materials or the training that is actually in forms of e-learning or something that can be delivered to countries in a more technical way, to have maybe a workshop that explain all of them and what is available from all of the GFOI partners, because we're in this landscape of training online. So I think that also have the countries jumping from one thing to another, depending on who is the program that they're working at the moment. Like if you're working with FAO, you're going to do some training online that FAO is putting there, and Silva Carbon is going to give you an e-learning. So there is not really a sequence. But if we can put something together, but that was Monica, I'm just talking about your idea. If we put something together, then the countries can, know that there is this repository of e-learnings or training, that there is all GFOI branding, and they can go there and make a sequence based on what they need at the time. But I just want to mention that now that you were talking about this ocean of courses and e-learnings that are available now.
Yeah, so I think it's a great idea, Sylvia. So let's join forces and really try to do this. I think can be really of advantage also for the countries to do this. We also have Rocio on the call. So Rocio is, let's say, our master in e-learning, because as presented this afternoon, so the CBIT course has really done an amazing work online this year. So I don't know, Rocio, if you want to say a few words on this part of the virtual versus face-to-face. I don't know if you want to add something.
Second, thank you very much, Inge, for the opportunity also. Yeah, well, I think, last year we start the CBIT Forest project implemented just the day we got a lockdown in Italy. So we really need to think deeply how to deliver still the capacity development activities. So already in the plans of this project, the e-learning was going to be implemented, yes or yes. So this was not new. The thing that was new for us, for many of us, I would say, has been the preparation of this massive open online course. And I think it has been the way we have been able to deliver capacity, to raise awareness, because this MOOC is based actually on the e-learning, on the self-paced e-learning course we have developed. But it has helped us also to have more interaction, because there are forums, there are webinars, there is a series of added material, and of course there are the experts that follow you for 3 weeks in the delivery of this massive open online course. I think probably this was the only way to continue. It has been a learning process for us, particularly for the team. It has been the first time for us. However, it has been really interesting, I would say, to deliver it in its 3rd edition. Actually, we are having the 3rd edition from the 20th of September to the 8th of October, and we have learned a lot thanks to the satisfaction survey we have done at the end. So I was just hearing from you, you were asking how we can track really not only the number of participants, the number of women that have been involved, but also if they were, if it was fine, if it was well done. So I think the 2 satisfaction surveys we have up till now have really helped us a lot to improve. So there were really specific questions regarding the webinars, the content, the structure, but also open question to let the participant express what went well and what can improve. And I think that really helps a lot. First of all, because we were just also learning how to move on these. And fortunately at FAO, we have the FAO Learning Academy, which has a series of technicians that has complement the technical work we have delivered. So we have a structural designer, we have educational people that are in-house in a specific unit that has helped us on these. So I think a satisfaction survey has really helped us to improve, and I hope the third edition is really and we have tried really to do our best to address all the different suggestions, including the length of the massive open online course. At the beginning it was 2 weeks, and people saying, well, you know, it's a very short, so now it's taking 3 weeks. So I think in many aspects regarding the content and the way in which delivered the MOOC has been improved thanks to the feedback from the countries. And this MOOC, as I mentioned, has allowed us, you have mentioned, Inge, has allowed us to reach a number of countries we have never expected, actually. We have the last MOOC, we were able to involve around 120 countries. And since we have been repeating these in different, through different editions, actually, we have countries that have participated in the first, some others in the second, and probably also in the third edition. So what we have done with 3 editions, I think it's to create a critical mass in each country, in different countries, in more than 100 countries that are helping at least to understand how we are moving from the MRV to the enhanced transparency framework, which includes also information on how RED will look like in the first lesson. So that's a bit in summary. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thanks a lot, Rocio. So I see we have a question also from Paul. So maybe I'll read it out for who doesn't see the chat. So Ellen, as you rightly said, so a lot of these low-hanging fruits have been harvested. And so we're in a more difficult phase now for capacity building. So Paul's question is like, how do you approach the capacity building in the countries where there's few staff and little funding? It's a very recognizable situation, as we all know. Well, you gave up the example of the Solomon Islands, which is one of them. And so they submitted a FREL, but their RED Plus is very young. So they can't make, they want to get the result-based payment, but then they can't make the jump to that point because they don't have the funding to implement the plan. And so how do we bridge that gap? Yeah, I think this is, maybe I'll start with this. I think it's a very good question. It's also something which in the whole GFOI we should think about, because actually when Silva Carbon and FAO started this capacity building component, the situation of the funding was very different. So there was a huge UN RED program who had specific targeted support, but also had like a general portfolio in which countries who had questions could just be helped. Now, actually, things have changed a lot. So there's, as I mentioned earlier, there's a huge CPAL program funded by Norway. There's a lot of other programs ongoing. There's still a small UN RED component, but basically the support to countries is limited and linked to most of these projects / programs. So this is why in my presentation and through brainstorm we had also with Silva Carbon, we came up with the fact that it would be great to have a specific individual budget in the GFOI structure for these kind of requests. Because in some countries there was or there has been implementation of a big program or a program, and then they could be supported on this. For the other ones, it's indeed a gap, and me too, I don't have a concrete answer how to bridge this. I don't know, Sylvia, want to come in how Silva Carbon sees this? Because I know you're also a bit more flexible with funding sometimes.
Thank you, Inga. I work with Sylvia, just to introduce myself. Yeah, and we've started with the Solomon Islands.
You just started with Solomon, okay, great.
Yeah, but there, you have like, you can gather satellite data, it's all available, it's great. But they have 3 staff members, so they need time, they need funding. They don't, even though it's available, they can't really make use of it at this point. We're trying to work with them, and they have their main person is in the field for the next 6 weeks. And there's no one in the office who could be downloading satellite data, running tools, making maps, trying to estimate carbon. So they're so close to the beginning phases that it's really difficult to see how they can get to their end goal, which is to, you know, have a sustainable program with results-based payments.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, for the Solomon Islands, I know for the FRA, so there has been FAO assisting them with the National Forest Inventory. So it was Anne Brantom who actually took care of this. So I think it would be good to at least link up with them. Unfortunately, for the funding part, and I don't know in which program Solomon is really included now, because for the FAO support, I would need, of course, that it's embedded in one of these programs. I don't think, Rosie, it's not in the CBIT, right, Solomon? And I don't think also in the CBIT of OCB. So yeah.
No, it's not in the global one. However, they are benefiting from all the activities because I'm in contact with the CTA there, and I think there is the development right now of a national CBIT. So it's one of the newest. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay, Paul, but maybe let's team up with Anne and then we can take it from there to see what FAO has already been doing and see there's maybe also for the Collect Earth team, they might have been doing things with the group of Danilo. But yeah, I clearly see your point and the difficulty that's because also Sylvia, if we go back to like the whole idea, what should be doing the capacity building, remember, I think in the beginning, our main task was really also to manage expectations, because if we come in and we have all these tools and we say we do capacity building and we do this and that, and then a country has a concrete request which then cannot be supported for one reason or the other by some funding, and of course it's very hard to deal with these requests. And I think this is also something which we should really consider and which should also be considered in the reconsideration of the capacity building. Because, for example, if we would have someone of Fiji or Solomon, sorry, on this line, and they say we want to be trained in one of these tools you just showed us, how do we react and how do we deal with these ones? That's a very legitimate question.
Yeah, Inga, I remember that we discussed for a long time that we should only train or pick or let the countries pick a methodology that they can replicate if we go the next month, right? Nothing that is dependable on donors, but that is actually really hard to do. So yeah, I'm with you. This is a problem that we face with many countries, but like you say, you know, 2011, 2012, 13, 14, the landscape was much easier too. And yeah. Before, I think we're gonna have to leave pretty soon to the main session, but I just wanna mention something that also was in your slides about how we think about capacity building and the areas of capacity building. And I think, like Rafael said, GIZ doesn't have an MRB capacity building program. So all of the donors, I guess, or all of the partners of GFOI that do capacity building are restricted based on their own agendas or their own mandates that they're supposed to be doing. So Silva Carbon is technical assistance to countries developing the MRB. I think there is a need also now with how the climate is changing in terms of financing and helping countries to access payment for results, to have some sort of program or donors that come to the table in the capacity building group with that angle, to provide capacity on accessing financing. Or I know we all the programs can do a little bit of that, but not necessarily we're focusing on that. So that's something that it's on my mind, because we get a lot of requests from countries on how do we access this, how do we access that, and that's not something that we can help them with.
Yeah, and then also, like, as you guys started this very nice e-learning course on all these other new challenging on the leaf and our trees, as we see, that's also something that was not core to this GFOI capacity building part, but will have a bigger role. So yeah, to show that we can really step in for new needs. Yeah.
I see
Okay.
Evan is
Yeah.
nodding on this comment. So I'm not
No.
sure if Evan, you have something to add.
Evan, you want to say something? You can have the
I
last
was going to
word.
respond to the earlier discussion. I can respond to that as well. I mean, I do think we need to continually think about where are the areas that we need to kind of build and expand, how we're doing capacity building. Some of it, I think we need to think about, where is the space exactly for the GFOI to kind of play, and where is it that GFOI can link to other ongoing efforts. And so, and I think all of the GFOI partners can think about that in terms of where are those points of linkages, and where are those points of where we might want to do more directly under GFOI. I think getting feedback from the countries where we work and partners is also very important to understand, what is it that makes the work that we do on building MRV capacity most effective. And so I think that that's an important consideration. And just to respond quickly on the other point around Solomon Islands or other countries, I think to some degree, as from the perspective of USAID and I think other development agencies, I think we also want to think about, what is a broader picture in terms of the support that countries have to have a staffing that might be outside of the direct programs around MRV, but where is there assistance to help countries with their staffing? Where are there opportunities? Things through, whether it's DEFRA, whether it's through Jeff for capacity for assistance on their greenhouse gas inventory. What are approaches to do that, and how do we build up the understanding of countries that some small investment of staffing can also be met through with technical assistance for those staff, but it's very hard to do technical assistance when that staff doesn't exist. So sometimes I think the discussions have to be a little bit more holistic. And so reaching out kind of beyond just the MRV piece is sometimes an important element of figuring out how to also address the MRV piece, which also gets to your point too, Sylvia.
Yeah, thanks even for these very wise words. I think this goes back to what we had also said, and we keep on saying a long time, that this whole thing of capacity building cannot work when it's on a project basis. It should be embedded in a whole structure, a whole thing that's set up with like commitment also from the country in which they engage people. So in that sense, I think we've been saying this a long time, and maybe this is also something to reiterate and bring it up again. So it's not about just bringing in once in a while consultants with a training, but really have some, let's say, resilience in country. And I think, well, that's something we've been saying a long time, but I think it's very good to rephrase it this way. Okay, well, thank you very much for all your inputs. That was a great session.